and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. A horrific incident of ragging has come to light from Madurai in Tamil Nadu. A 15-year-old boy was bullied into stripping by 3 senior batchmates. The teen was then thrashed with slippers. He was attacked on his private parts. What's even worse is that the peers filmed this and circulated the clip online. The victim is a first-year student at the Government Industrial Training Institute in Madurai. He hails from Varusanadu in Theni district and was staying in the students' hostel run by the Tamil Nadu government's Department of Kalar Reclamation. The victim's family has filed a complaint with the police, after which 3 senior boys have been booked under the Tamil Nadu Prohibition of Ragging Act 1997. Earlier, there were doubts of caste-based atrocity, but the police have now confirmed that this is not the case. I'm going to open up my discussion. Joining me on the telecast is Gautam Mukherjee. Gautam, such an unfortunate incident that has taken place. There have been rules and guidelines that have been put in place. There is an anti-ragging guideline that has been in circulation, that has been implemented by the University Grants Commission. That happened in 2007. But I am appalled that this incident has still taken place despite the very punitive actions that the institutions and the police can take if such an incident comes to light. Do you think the implementation of these guidelines and rules is the #1 basic problem? Okay, I'm also being joined by Professor Madan Mohan Goyal. He is the former Vice Chancellor of Kurukshetra University. Professor Goyal, I would like to understand from you, is there a regulatory committee, a monitoring anti-ragging committee that is in place in Kurukshetra University, or was it in place in Kurukshetra University while you were the Vice Chancellor? How many people are aware, how many students are aware of the helpline number that has been issued by the government to report any of these ragging incidents that have taken place, whether with their friends, fellow mates, or with themselves? And are there committees that have been formed in your institution, or were they formed in Kurukshetra University, which could then act on these complaints that may have been filed by the students?
Meghaji, thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my concern. I represent a school of thought. I call it Gita-inspired Neuronomic School of Thought. And being a student in higher education, then teacher, researcher, then lecturer, reader, professor, and vice chancellor, I understand the problem of ragging in totality. When we were the students, we were also ragged. And it used to be practically in hostels, and that used to develop an understanding. Presently, anti-ragging committees are being constituted everywhere as a mandate of the UGC, but sadly, it is basically creating a gap between the fraternity of teachers and students. And let me confess before you, as a teacher, we have miserably failed in certain things. And with a collective responsibility from the fraternity of teaching and parents, I believe that let me be hanged for collective responsibility that we have miserably failed inculcating the values of life. You know, this kind of incident which has taken place in Tamil Nadu, I miserably feel hurt, and this kind of thing cannot be tolerated.
Right.
The anti-ragging committees are in place, and we have been doing very seriously, but these incidents are taking place at many places, but we have to come out with solutions. How to come out with
and practical. But I do want to understand from you, you have been the Vice Chancellor of Kurukshetra in the past. During your posting, how many students are aware that there is an emergency helpline that has been issued under the UGC anti-ragging rules guidelines, and that they can call for help immediately when they fear themselves of facing these ragging incidents?
Honestly speaking, let me tell you, I have been vice chancellor in 3 universities. Kurukshetra University, I retired as professor of economics, and after that, I was director vice chancellor in Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, then Jagannath University, Jaipur, and Star X University. And the problem of ragging is more in private universities than the state universities. Therefore, the implementation
This
of
incident that has
anti-ragging
taken place is in fact in a public university. This university is run by the government in Tamil Nadu.
yes, this is simply, I would simply be saying that it is a gap between the students and teachers, and moreover, simply by legislation, we cannot. I have been a senior student at every level. I have been even justifying to implement national education policy in this event of scarcity of teachers. We have to use senior students as basically shadow teachers, but this has not been happening.
Okay.
Senior students act as mentors, not this kind of ragging.
Okay.
Therefore,
Gautam Mukherjee, how do you respond to this? First of all, the argument that these incidents don't take place in government universities and colleges, this is more of a bane that is in existence in private institutes, and talking about quote unquote gap between teacher and student communication. Do you really think that's the problem? Especially, I do not know how many universities and colleges in our country, private or otherwise, have a monitoring committee, have an anti-ragging committee. That is the mandate that has been issued by the UGC under the laws that had been formulated back in 2007, which I also think was really late in time. 2007 is when you are actually implementing it. It should have been done way before.
I think ragging is prevalent in the second rung universities, very much so. And, it is, whatever the laws may be, they are not implemented. And most people take ragging into their stride, but there are certain students who are very sensitive, and they cannot tolerate this, and it leads to tragedies. As far as teachers and students doing something about it, I don't know of very many places where this happens. In the prominent universities in major cities, there is less of this, though again, you do get incidents as like this with tragic consequences, even in places like IIT and IIM. So it is a matter, I would imagine, Megha, of education and sensitizing students and teachers, but particularly the senior students, because it happens to the new entrants and is perpetrated by the senior students.
Yeah.
And I would say a lot of vigilance on the part of the authorities and the security agencies employed by them during the first year at the time of intakes.
Do you also feel there should be a fear that needs to be instilled in students to not cross the limits? At one point of time, when the seniors would rag the juniors, the freshers, it was a bonding exercise. It was a friendly ragging exercise where both the freshers as well as the seniors enjoyed. It was an ice-breaking session that used to be done. But clearly, when you cross all limits, when you are undressing a fresher, you are beating him up, you are beating him on his private parts. You have just, detracted human dignity, exposed the student to ridicule and embarrassment and humiliation. Clearly, there needs to be strong action taken, and just a suspension for a considerable period of time from the college premises is really not going to do much as a deterrent.
Well, I agree with you, but half the time, the people who are doing the ragging, even in this brutal manner, are not caught. the people hide the facts from the authorities and the investigating agencies. So it becomes very difficult to pinpoint blame. If you do pinpoint blame, you can, of course, do something about it. But prevention, I would say, is better than cure in most instances.
Sanjay Sahai, it is mandatory for the institution, after having found out that there has been a ragging incident that has taken place on its premises, to file an FIR. There are 3 students who have been booked in this particular case. What action can the police take in such a situation?
Welcome to what action the police can take. I am very appalled about the fact that a fellow panelist who has headed 3 universities, he says he hangs his head in shame. The issue is that when you are in charge of the academic administration of a university or a college, and then you allow things of this nature to happen, why shouldn't the axe fall on the college management and the university management? If this has become a dinosaur of the nature it has, it is primarily for the reason that the college administration, they have not been able to do anything at all. As regards to Tamil Nadu, I think the act was passed in 1997 and we are in 2025. So in last 28 years, I think nothing has transpired, and all these UGC guidelines are primarily a checklist. We can keep coming to the criminal investigation and police will certainly take action on whatever has transpired. But where is the intelligence, where is the normal information which needs to flow in a college administration on a regular basis with regards to ragging? Notwithstanding whatever has been said on this panel discussion, I don't think there would be anybody who would go by the fact that this is an aberration and that ragging is not happening on a day-to-day, on a regular basis, only when it reaches a situation wherein it comes to light. Not that instances of this nature is also not happening. Only when it comes to light, and in the current day and age, is only on videos become viral, only then something becomes important. And the college administration and the academic administrators, they are not doing anything. It was in Kottayam some time back. And so this has been on a regular basis. So primarily what they feel, that they will go scot-free, and only the students who have done whatever they have, which is illegal and criminal in nature, they will be caught. So primarily now it needs to be fixed on the college administration itself, and all these suspensions are basically to evade the situation or cool down the situation.
Okay. Dr. Nisha Khanna, again a response from you with regards to how many of our institutes, colleges, universities, even schools for that matter, have anti-ragging committees, have a counselor where a student who is fearful of his seniors can go and seek help. How many students are made aware of the helpline numbers that are provided under the UGC guidelines?
I think so. One thing is that it is not about, definitely the helpline numbers are visible, maybe not that much highlighted, but it is visible and the students can approach. But most of the time, I agree with that Mr. Gautam also highlighted, and I would say here that even the students get to know about this information, they do not want to take action if it is not on the higher scale, because they know that the next 4 or 5 years they have to be in the institution, and they do not want to take any action against that, so that they not have to face any sort of minor harassment or impartiality among the students itself. Another thing is that what you say is that it also pointed out how seriously the colleges or the institutions are taking action, because I think the severe repercussions are need to be assigned for these sort of incidents, because the highlights are being done because it is coming on the social media or in the TV channels or media about such incidents. Now the thing is that if such serious, even for the minor humiliation, the students report and the action has been taken, then I think so it would be highlighted. From 97 to 2025, it's more than 28 years that these incidents are still happening. It's a highlight of that the system is still lagging, and the people or the students who are having such narcissistic traits, who feel themselves that they have the power and control, they are on the authority position, and no one can take any action against them. Maybe belongs to any particular category of people, belongs to, or maybe know the people who are sitting in the power. Maybe they have a majority of the role in the institutions or their families. So somewhere it is highlighting the system's lack, where we want to see that if such peoples are in the surroundings in the college itself, and teachers are pointing it out that such incidents has been happening, these children must be, or these students must be doing some other activities also. It may be they are into drugs also, they are maybe misbehaving with the teachers also. It is not one this incident they are going into this extent. Maybe the series of reports have been filed against these students who took these steps. That's why the courage has been so much of at a vast,
Okay.
that they can go to the heinous crime.
Okay, all right. Professor Madan Mohan Goel, so the fact that there has been a series of incidents that have taken place, in fact, there are statistics that have been put out on my television screen that yes, there has been a drastic reduction in the number of ragging cases. I do not know if they have happened or they have not happened, but at least the number of cases that have been reported have reduced from some 1100, 1200 that used to be reported back in 2023, 2024. In 2025, there have been around, I think, 16 or 17 of these cases that have been reported across the country. Now, this is sort of, difficult for me to digest, to believe that there were only 16 cases that have happened across the country.
I'm sorry to confess that we are very poor in data management, and all these data are cannot be relied upon. Things are more serious, but these are not reported, as fellow participants are also saying like that. I personally believe that instead of simply talking of the problem, let us discuss something. What can be the possible solutions to avoid this kind of incidents to take place? Simply pointing it out that this is the number of data, these cases have happened and or not happened. I believe that we should come out with the solutions. Like, I have been in NSS as a NSS volunteer. Even senior students practically involve the junior students in community work. They attend camps and we have a good rapport. Similarly, we can think of conducting some activities. Even counseling can take place at the level of this orientation. It should take place, although orientation has become a part and parcel after that anti-ragging act has come into operation. But implementation part, as Gautamji was telling, is still missing. That coordination and cooperation required between the teaching community and the students. Senior students can be constructively used, and some elements, many of our students are careless, many of some are careless, many of us are useless, many of us are useless. Therefore,
okay, also, Gautam, quickly coming to you now. Looking back, I finished my school a long time ago. I think 2000, I not even 2000, yeah, 2000 is perhaps when I finished my school and went to college. And there were no anti-ragging committees. We did not have any monitoring councils that had been present in our school premises, and for a really long time in my college premises as well, my university as well. I think the only person that a student could approach to was a counselor that had been appointed by the university management, by the university administration. So looking back at things, do you think there was in fact quite a delay from the side of the government, from the side of the state governments as well, to take action? And even when action has been taken, perhaps this issue of ragging is not being taken as seriously as it should.
No, I agree with you. It has never been prominently, sort of highlighted as a major problem, though it is extremely widespread. In most cases, it is, as you said, friendly ragging. but in some cases it can become quite sinister and result in all sorts of uh, drastic consequences, especially with sensitive uh, entrants. So the long term, while you can police this to a certain extent, it is really a tradition that needs to be stamped out by uh, making it very difficult for people to conduct any kind of ragging, whether it is, innocent ragging, as they call it, or something much heavier duty. And that means, nowadays you have CCTV cameras, you have all kinds of surveillance, you have security, of course, and you've got the authorities. But it is very important to take, actions such as expulsion if people are actually caught. But the trouble is that both the authorities and the students are against any drastic action. They perpetuate this because they consider it part of the rites of passage, and it's something that should be, in a sense, allowed.
Yeah. But
It's very
several
hard
times
to.
even the person who is being ragged is so scared, so fearful that they don't even approach their teachers. They don't go to the counselors. Like I said, they're perhaps completely ignorant that there is actually a helpline, a hotline number that has been provided under the UGC rules, and several of them have committed suicide.
Yes. The problem is that, most people who are at the receiving end of such ragging, they believe, as several others have also pointed out in this discussion, that they're going to have to live with this situation for 4 or 5 years while they're in college. The authorities also think that there is a gunda element in every college, and they are subjecting themselves and their families to possible threat by taking drastic action against anybody, because not only do the students get involved in retaliation if drastic action is taken, but so does the wider community, their relatives and friends. Some of them are influential people's children. Some of them are, with a criminal bent of mind. It's really quite a thorny bush. And the right way to approach it, I feel, is to make it out of date by, if you like, partly counseling, but partly, making students believe that this is a stupid idea in the first place.
Yeah, okay.
Ragging does not make, break the ice or any such thing. It is a form of bullying, and that bullying has no place in a university, in a higher institute of learning.
Yeah.
Now, if it becomes out of fashion, it'll go away, but it needs to be propagandized constantly.
Sanjay Sai, how can the college authorities, in fact even school authorities, educational institutions, management and administration instill a sense of fear to stop students, to deter them from acting out the way this incident has played out?
See, the problem is with regards to the college administration. I have been repeating over and over again, if something happens in a college, the college administration is squarely to be blamed. We are basically pinning down the whole discussion primarily on the students who are ragging students who are coming in the first year and things of that nature. Now the college administration primarily is in a very, very cozy sort of a situation, and they do not want to in any manner disturb the equilibrium. Now, one thing which Gautam has been talking about, that there are rogue elements.
I mean, I want to understand. I don't know what equilibrium are you talking about, keeping in mind there are several, especially when you're living in hostels. It is impossible for college authorities to keep an eye on the students 24/7. What happens after the student goes back into his room? It goes back to his hostel dorm. That's what I'm asking you. What more can be done by the colleges, by the teachers, by the counselors?
See, first and foremost, their anti-ragging squads are not operational. All the guidelines which come from the UGC, it is just a checklist. The college administration, primarily the dean, I think we saw in the Kottayam case also, they did not respond in time. When there is a complaint given, they don't respond to the complaint. There is no trust between the victim and the person or the management which is supposed to provide the succor at that particular point in time. Somebody talked about CCTV. You don't put CCTV in the rooms, you put CCTVs in common areas, and enough and sufficient evidence you will get out there. So of what is happening. If more than 5 people congregate, if people are moving at 2 o'clock in the night, there are a variety of things which can be done. The college administration has decided not to do anything and not to break down the equilibrium. I'll repeat the same thing again.
Okay.
So that is precisely what is happening.
Okay, all right.
And in this case also, somebody has been suspended. If the owner, who is the owner of the institute? The police is not there on a regular basis, and police will come only when it is called. The owner has the responsibility. If something happens in the house, who is responsible? There is somebody who is head of the family. And here clear-cut, legally mandated responsibility is put on them, and they are not fulfilling that legally mandated responsibility.
Unfortunately, as per the anti-ragging rules that have been implemented by the UGC, do not really put the responsibility, put the onus and accountability on the college premises, on the authorities. In fact, I have a list of guidelines and what is the punishment that can be leveled on the person who has committed this ragging incident. It is termed as a criminal offence. There are severe punishments that the college authorities can take action as: fines, imprisonment, institutional penalties, cancellation of admissions and suspension. And then it goes on to say that, you know, there must be anti-ragging committees that need to be built. There is an anti-ragging helpline. The institution can file an FIR for the reported incident as soon as it finds out, as soon as it discovers that this incident has taken place. So there is at this point in time no accountability on the college premises, on the college authorities to be penalized for what happens inside their institutes, what happens inside their institutions. I'm also being joined by Dr. Nisha Khanna. Nisha, do you think there is at this point of time a change that is required in the guidelines and the anti-ragging rules of the government?
I would say again, the rules are already been there, and Mr. Sahai said it rightly. It's all in the paperwork, but in the implementation, nothing is happening. And I think so. The seriously implementation needs to be required. There are numerous laws related to anti-ragging which has not been implemented, and this incident is highlighting, or whatever the incidents which are all been here, maybe every month we people are on the media and talking about such incidents day by day, that still the ragging is happening. And when you are talking about the victim is not approaching because victim feels fearful, and the other kids make, I would say, they make fun of that particular person, that how much he's scared. So you have to understand, the bullying has a history. The people who bully the other person, they somewhere treat the other person like a shit, and they mock, and it is sort of abuse. And that's why the people are thinking again they committed suicide. So we have to take the actions against the people who are doing even the little bit of the harassment, who are doing eve teasing, who are doing bullying. Not on this extent, when something major happened and we sit on media and talk about that. I think the institution has to take particular strict actions against that. And even in the classes also, if the teachers and like the sir highlighted about, the CCTV cameras are even highlighting the behavior, where you are seeing there is the behavior which is out of the control and which is not normal. They have to take strict actions because they know no action is going to be taken seriously. That's why their guts are like by that.
Therefore, they act with impunity. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast, sharing your views and holding this very important discussion. On that note, I slip into a short break. Thanks for watching NewsX.